welcome to United Latinas Cafecito and Power Break. I'm Heidi Romer, and I'm here with Rosanna Scarpati, and we're going to be talking about building a life with purpose on your own terms. Rosanna, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to jump right in, okay? If you can start by what's your full name, because the past cafecitos I've had, there, we'll see two names there, but it's like no, two middle names, two last names. So if you can start with, what's your name, introduce yourself.
It's more my kids with the extended names, but for me, I'm actually super simple. It is just Rosanna Scarpati. No other names, no middle names, nothing.
Okay. All right. I think you're the first. Okay, but that's all right. Let's talk a little bit about your Latina heritage. Like, where are you from? Like, talk about your culture. Yeah, I want to know all about it.
So I'm a first generation Colombian. Um, I was raised a lot by my grandmother, my abuelita, and also by Sábado Gigante. I think those were the two the two main things that I grew up with. And so much so that I didn't really understand that the first language of this country was English until probably first grade. Which is, that was a little bit of a culture. I basically cried the first 2 days of first grade because I was like, wait, why is everyone here speaking English?
Oh my goodness. I didn't know you were. I love Colombians. I thought we got along so well. I was like, oh, she's Puerto Rican. But you're Colombian. I love the Colombians. Wow. So Spanish was your first language, obviously, right? It was not. It was not English. Okay. Where do you live now? Rep your city. Where are you from? Like, where do you call? Well, I would say two things. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And then where are you living now?
So I was born in New Jersey, and I lived in New Jersey, New York area for 40 plus years.
Wow. Okay.
And now I am in the beautiful state of Florida, in southern Florida.
Okay. Um, I'm also in South Florida, and everyone that I've met that I like, they're from New York or New Jersey. So it's I'm not surprised by our kind of camaraderie here. All right. So anybody, if you're in South Florida, definitely connect with Rosanna. At the end of this, we're gonna make sure we have all her links and ways that you'll be able to get in touch with her. Um, so I'm a proud member of United Latinas, and I shot it from the rooftops, and I try to get everybody to join. But you are a member, and I'd love to know a little bit more about how you originally found out about United Latinas, and like, what do you think about it so far?
Yeah, so I'm not going to be around the bush. I actually didn't dive in right away. It took me about 3 months. Yeah, it took me about 3 months because I was looking for community. Obviously, I moved down here. I left all my friends, and it's really hard, with kids and whatnot, to make just friends that you really just connect with right away. Not just the moms of your kids' friends and things like that.
Mhm.
And so I thought, the issues are, though, that there's so many Latinas here in South Florida, and it's just trying to find kind of the ones that really you resonate with. And so
Mm.
I dabbled a little bit. I just joined a free membership the first 3 months, kind of went in and out of like a few of the meetings. And to be honest, you were one of the few first ones that I said, oh, I want to connect with her. She seems really genuine, really authentic. And in talking to you, you were one of the first that really made me believe, okay, this is a real kind of wanting to support each other type of organization, right? Where I can find community. And then I started opening up to Sandra and Iliana and everybody, and everybody really in all of the meetings. People say that this is a safe space. You don't just do it, and start opening up because people say it. You have to actually feel it, right? And
Yes.
and sooner or later, you start opening up and you start feeling the love, and you start feeling how people are there to support each other. So yeah, so after about 3 months, it's kind of like a relationship, right? It takes a little
Yeah.
bit of time to just kind of I said I'm ready to go all in. So I went into the full membership, the premium membership, and it's been great. I just did the speakers, a meeting yesterday, and I realized there's so much that this membership really entails that I'm just really lucky. I'm happy to have found you guys.
Oh my goodness, that got me like a little, I'm like emotional a little bit behind that. That was really lovely. Thank you. Thank you really for sharing all of that because I feel the same way. I do. And but it's like anything else, right? You're gonna get out of it what you put into it, right? So and I love that so far it's been good and it's only gonna get better. And yeah, I'm really glad that we met. I've met some pretty amazing ladies through United Latinas, and not just in Florida, I'd say nationally. So yeah, you're the best part of United Latinas, Rosanna. Um trying to get a little less emo and into the business side of things. I'd love to know if you could talk to me a little bit about your business. What's the name? How did you come up with the name? Kind of your why, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So, I mean, to start with, I do have 20, I don't even know how many, 25 maybe years in finance in my background. And in moving down here, I realized it was finally time to break free from all of it and start on my own. And that's a really hard thing to do when you've been a corporate girly,
Mm,
really just depending on someone else for your kind of direction.
mm,
And so I took about 2 years to really figure out what it is that I wanted to do. Maybe after about a year, I kind of had an idea. So last year I started the business, Empower Your Evolution Coaching, and and I realized that the best part of my career was the connection with people, kind of getting the best out of them, finding
mm,
their kind of goals in life, and calling them forward. And I did that with people, even if they were my clients and they were traders. If they wanted to be, rock climbers, you got to get out of this.
right.
So I didn't. I wasn't there to just sell for what I was selling. It was to really help people find their calling, their vision, their purpose. And
Wow.
so now I get to do it on my own terms. So it's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. And what's the name of your company again?
Empower your evolution.
Love it. Okay, we're gonna make sure at the end of this, we're gonna put the links, the website. You're gonna be able to get a chance to connect with Rosanna and even learn more about her business on your own. I loved your why though. It sounded very organic, very much you, right? Like this is what I'm good at, and this is what feels good, and this is how I'm gonna do good in the world. And you kind of took the plunge. I always find that very courageous when I talk to women. And yeah, I'm super great at this, right? And that they're not even saying that, but I'm super great at this. But yeah, my heart is telling me to do this, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm going all in. So that takes courage, and I admire that. I have some questions for you, right? Some good questions. You know, and it really leads into what we were just talking about. How did you identify what truly mattered to you beyond the societal expectations? Because you already had a very good career. You were the expert in what you were doing. Like you didn't kind of have to pivot. So if you could talk a little bit about that.
That's a big question. I could probably answer it over the course of 3 hours, to be honest. So
Cliff notes.
um,
Cliff notes for today.
So what I will say is, I mean, I had a very clear vision when I first started. Let's say, right out of college, I became a evaluations analyst for Deutsche Bank, and
Mm,
from there, I didn't know really what I wanted to do. But in talking to traders and talking to salespeople, and I had to kind of convince people to give me intraday pricing, and I was working for the salespeople, and they kind of had to get something from the traders that they didn't want to give. And in doing that really hard job that nobody apparently wanted to do,
mm,
because that's why they hired me, because
mm,
everyone that was already in the group was like, no, we're not doing that. I realized that I wanted to be in sales and I wanted to be in emerging markets, mainly because my background. I love the fact that it incorporates not just the U.S. It incorporates global views, what's happening,
Mm,
and I get to do the sales and trading part of it that I like from finance. And so that was my goal when I first started. And everything I did, every move I made was towards that goal. And so
mm,
that's how I kind of made sure that I stayed true to myself. Everything that I did, whether it was kind of a little bit of this, was going to that goal. Once I got that goal and I got my MBA and I got all the things that I wanted, it was like check, check, check. It wasn't exactly what I felt really aligned with. And so I did it for a
mm.
full year. I gave it the chance, and then I realized I said, this actually isn't 100% in integrity with who I am.
Wow.
And so instead of wanting to be right because, oh my God, you've worked 10 years for this, you got it. What do you do now? Um, I left. I quit JP Morgan at a point where uh, it didn't really even make sense to my colleagues and my friends. They said, how do you just leave JP Morgan? And I said, well, honestly, it doesn't fit right. It doesn't fit right with my
Mm,
life right now.
wow.
My I'm not getting like a full heart from this. And so
Mm,
I have to stop. And I'm not saying, I was super wealthy and I could just do that. It wasn't. I was taking a huge risk. And so
wow.
I took a full year and really analyzed what it is I wanted, what I wanted in my life in general. So I wasn't married and I didn't have kids, but I still knew that there was going to be a future that I wanted to fit in with my vision. And so after getting my health in check, because that's number one, by the way,
Yeah.
because I was super stressed. I had a lot of, things that were going on that I didn't realize were because of my job, because of the
Mm,
stress I was putting myself under. And so I started the yoga, the meditation, the raw food. I did a raw food
mm.
retreat. That was ridiculous. I got myself back to feeling better than I did at 18. And
Wow.
so once I had that, your mind kind of clears, the noise clears. And I was able to see what I really wanted in my life.
Mm,
And so when I did the whole manifestation, the whole kind of like, this is actually what I feel is in tune. For that point in time, I got a call. And the call was exactly what I wanted. So when people say, like, you don't know what you want to do, but you can say what it is that you want, like the feelings as you're going through your day, what you want it to be, you can
mm,
kind of call that forward. You can say, I want to have freedom to go into the office or not go into the office. I want to have freedom to, go out with clients or not go out with clients. I want
yes.
whatever it is. And you do that, and somehow it it comes to you. But
Mm,
there's a lot of things you have to do to get that. But I did all the things. So the job came, and then for the next 12 years, I did that. So I was basically, I got all the things that I wanted, and that was in working in the brokerage houses,
okay.
and that was in electronic trading and all of that good stuff. And that's where everything changed. So my career and the money, everything came easily. Everything came easily because it was exactly what was aligned with me at that time.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And so people always say that, right? Like it should be easy. Yeah, it should. Just like it is when you meet someone and there's no games and they know it's easy. That the relationship flows. Same thing with your career and with your journey. And so sometimes you need to take that break and you need to stop and really kind of clear yourself, clear your
Mm,
blocks. Um, and then again, it happened, and it happens. It happens more than once, more than twice. Then again, it happened during COVID, and I was ready to make the next move, and that's why I came down here. So
wow. So I am a believer. If you ask the universe, right, for help, for guidance, for what you want, the universe will answer you. If you're asking with a full heart, right? As you've said, you've mentioned that a few times, but you put the work in, right? And I think sometimes we don't talk about that enough, right? Like, yeah, like how you said, like, no, this was easy. I was aligned, but you put the work in and for it to be able to be easy. But wow. Okay, my next question is because you talked a little bit about your career, right? And I think, 12 years to be in one space, that's like a chunk of your life, right? So you worked in top international banks and then later worked at a very large interdealer brokerage house, right? And that's where you're saying this was my jam. Um, how did you know when it was time to change roles again and then move again, right? Because you said you hinted at it. You're like, no, it happened again, and now I'm in Florida. So
Yeah. So so I think if I had stayed in New Jersey, I probably would have been pulled back into another, type of financial role. And I
mm,
think for me, once I got to TradeWeb, was the last place I worked, I just realized there wasn't anything above what I was doing that I really wanted to do.
mm,
When you see that's not like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna just keep doing this. No, that means that that's not the direction you have to go in. If there's another direction,
mm,
maybe it's something that, you have no clue about yet. But your heart will let you know that's like it's not guiding me. I'm not looking to be there, but there's somewhere else I need to be. And
mm,
for me, it was easy because I had actually been trying to get out of the space for about two or 3 years, and and uh, and I was working with LIBOR, which is the inter office banking like kind of rate that they lend at, and it was coming to cessation, and I was the global head of the risk management for this particular rate, and so with it coming to an end, my role was coming to an end. So it
mm.
was kind of perfection because I said, "Oh my
Wow.
God, good. There's no way that I'm going to get pulled back into this type of role again." Um, but there's obviously definitely other things that I could have done if I had stayed in New Jersey or New York. But obviously, COVID also changed that, right? So,
Yeah.
and that changed it for a lot of people. Down here in Florida, there's just like kind of talk about like how long you've been in Florida. You say you meet New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Um, when I most of my friends are that I have made down here are also from transplants, and they talk about each other like, "Wait, are you a COVID move?"
Pre-COVID, post-COVID. Yeah, yeah.
Because so it changed the mindset of so many people. You were
Yes.
stuck, especially in New York, New Jersey. It was really, really scary. Everybody had 1 degree away from somebody that passed away
Yes.
or was really having really horrible aftershocks from it, right? And
Yeah.
so the freedom that I once felt in living in New York and New Jersey completely left me.
Okay.
And when I came down here, and I used to come down here all the time, I have family in Florida. So I kind of grew up always between the two states. And when I came down here during COVID, I think it was in the beginning of 2021, I was doing a certificate for Wharton and working full time. And my husband and my son had gone to Canada to see his mom, my mother-in-law. And I said, well, I'm not going to stay in New Jersey. I'm going to go down and do something fun, at least in Florida. And I came down here, and Heidi, I just knew it. I was like, this is
Mm.
it. Like, I don't know what I'm waiting for retirement to like come
Oh,
down to Florida.
woo.
I
Yes.
said that is way too far away for me to keep pushing it to like, oh, I will retire, whenever. I felt like it was the time. Like I get to live my life now. I get to live
Woo.
my best life right now.
Preach.
And it was easy. It was easy enrolling, my husband into it, my kids. My son will still once in a while really miss snow, but we can always go and
Yeah, you
do
can
take
visit.
trips to it. Yeah, you take trips to it, but there's no need to have it all the time, for a
Yeah.
whole winter. And my birthday's in January. And
Oh,
so
winter
my
baby.
birthday for the first 40 plus years of my life was always really kind of dark, really,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just inside the house, and, like, if you wanted to plant stuff, you there was always, like, a chance that there's gonna snow. It was kinda like
Yeah.
a 50% chance it was gonna snow.
Yeah.
Now I look forward to my birthdays, I look forward to everything.
Yes.
It is, like, year round, I am really, really excited, really happy, and I open up my windows, and it's like sunshine every day. And that's
Yes.
just, like, one part of it. Everything has changed, and I realized that it had to be now. And that's
Mm.
why I did it. I still worked for about a year when I came down here, but even just working here from, remotely really changed how I felt about my life. Once I
Okay.
stopped working and I started doing what I wanted each day, I planned each day on my own terms.
Mm.
no day looks the same, right? If I want, like, I think we were talking about the other day, like if you want meetings Tuesday to Wednesday, that's what you do. And
Yep.
nobody will say, oh, but we really need Monday meetings and we
Right.
really need Friday meetings. No one will say that to you because
Right.
you're in charge, right? You're the one that decides and you get to say, I'm gonna spend time with my kids these days. And that's it. And I feel so like my life is so much fuller right now than it's
Wow.
ever
I love so we have a lot of stuff in common. Like as you're talking, I'm like, yeah, yeah, same. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, post-COVID, lived in between the Bronx and Miami my whole life, was always gonna come back here. Very similar to what you said. It was like, how do I live my life now? And if I'm tired now. If I think when I turn 65 I'm gonna, be able to do everything I want to do, no, I want to come down here now. So um I'm sure so many people can relate to that. But one of the things, two things that stood out to me though when you were talking. One, so the position was ending and you said it was perfection. And I think we don't think of that and things like that, right? Like you could have, it could have been so many different scenarios and you were like, no, this is actually perfect because this is going to allow me to pivot again, on my own terms, the way you've talked about. So I think that was really just important. Just the way you thought about it, your perspective for that was very cool. And then the other part, how you're saying how full my life is, right? And that's like the goal, isn't that right? To like have a nice, happy, full life right now. So yeah, I'm just thinking about some of the things that you were talking about, and I'm sure others are thinking as well, um how would you define success, and how has that definition evolved over time? So you've touched upon it, right? You talked about kind of where you were and where you are, but if you could talk a little bit more about that, because
been.
yeah.
Yeah, so and that probably will take me to why I put together what I'm working on right now,
Okay.
because I think a lot of I know when I started out, I didn't realize, success, wealth, all of that, the definitions would be changing throughout
Mm,
my life, and so you start building your path, in your early 20s to do one thing, and you really need to be open to that changing, like on a dime. You don't really
yes,
know when it's going to happen, but it'll happen. So
yes,
people say like the midlife crisis. No, it's not just a midlife crisis. Like it happens much more often than that.
yeah.
And for me, I think in my 20s, it was a lot of, I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be constantly achieving some things, right? So I was constantly moving towards everything. It wasn't even one thing, right? Like I wanted to do everything. I
Yeah.
wanted to get my MBA, I wanted to get my CFA, I wanted to change jobs, I wanted to be this, I wanted to do that. I started a non for profit with my roommate from college. I
Wow.
wanted to travel all over the world. It
Wow.
was like I was all over the place, and I had enough energy to do it all. At the same time, I feel like I took it too far. I took it
Mm.
too far. Yeah, I took it too far, and that's what took me to, leaving JP Morgan, because I did too much, too
Mm.
fast, I think, for me anyway. And um and I needed to pull back. So it could happen, that you are really, really well paced and you're able to do things. But for me in my 20s, it was about the faster the better. And then in my 30s, the definitions of success and wealth completely changed. And it was much more about, yes, learning, because I'm a lifelong learner, right? So that's
Mhm.
not going to change. So I
Yep.
was always looking at what else can I do? What else can I learn? How can I grow? But it turned more into, how can I contribute more? So it
Mm.
was more about being, giving back. How do I? Because I felt really selfish in my 20s, and I think that's okay, right? It's nothing bad about it, but I think all of a sudden it hit me, and I said, no, I want to give back. I wouldn't have gotten all of this had I not, been given things. So I started really, really um, giving back to like Inroads. I started volunteering a lot for Inroads, which was the internship that gave me an opportunity,
Wow.
for underserved communities. And I started volunteering where I felt like it was best placed. And that
Mm.
actually helped me go into my 30s, and that got me to be more in alignment with the things I wanted to do and be. And so that made me feel wealthy. And in doing that and giving back is when I started receiving even like tenfold.
Mm.
And
Yes.
so that became, that was a huge awakening. I was like, wow, this is insane. Like I don't have to worry about money at all anymore because it's just coming, and it's coming easily,
Wow.
and I don't have to fight for it, kind of thing.
Wow.
And then in my 40s, yeah, I mean, 40s wealth is totally different. It's
40s are
you know,
great.
40s are amazing. 40s are amazing. It's all about self awareness. My wealth is in self love, in really developing myself and being there 100% for my family.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I'm so much more present now, to my 11-year-old than I was when he was first born, because I went right back to work and I was kind of like still juggling a bunch of stuff and like not really as present as I could have been.
Mm.
And and now I have a 3-year-old,
Wow.
and yeah, it's a totally different parent than I am now.
Yeah.
And so my wealth now is in that freedom to be present for my family, for myself. And I feel that is huge success for me.
Wow. I love everything. This has been like a deep conversation. We have 3 minutes left. Did you know I didn't? Yeah, we have 3 minutes left. So we're not doing rapid fire today, guys, because it is
Hey,
Rosanna
wait, but
is
I have the book that I'm reading. Hold on. I wanted to tell you.
okay.
I'm reading The
That's
Greatness Mindset. You guys got to read this. This is in my book club. My car, by the way, I think all of them, they're all Puerto Rican. So maybe they're rubbing off on me. That's why you thought I was Puerto Rican.
I did. I thought you was, I thought you was me, but it's all right. But I would love to spend the last 2 minutes talking about what you're working in now, and the event that you have coming up. Tell us all about it, and we'll make sure to add it in the links at the end so everybody can have access to it.
Amazing. So I have been working for the last almost 2 months on a summit. I decided to put together, and for all the reasons, so I don't have to repeat myself. We basically, for all the reasons that we just talked about, I decided to put
Mm,
on this summit. And it's called Women Redefining Wealth.
mm,
And I have women from, all walks of life. I have some case studies and some experts. So I have women that have really pivoted into from crazy, one thing to the other extreme. So I have someone that was a trader that went into, a startup tech company and is now a fashion designer.
wow.
And it's just to show people that, you know, yes, your definition of success will change, your definition of wealth will change, and
Yes.
and it's okay, because there's struggles, there's challenges in every place that you're going to go. And so you basically need to ensure that you're always following your heart, always following your
Mm,
intuition, but ensuring that it's placed correctly, because sometimes it's kind of blocked by all the other things, like we said before, expectations and, beliefs and past things that have happened to you. You have to make sure that all of that, you work through it, so you continue to continue the path that's aligned with your true self. And
mm,
so this summit is really about that, really showcasing, experts that will show you the way, and women that are doing it, in real time. So I'm really
wow.
excited about it. I can't believe, they're all the women are so amazing. They're so generous with their time. So I'm really excited to bring that to the world, and it's gonna kick off May 12th.
Perfect. Make kickoff May 12th and say the name of it again.
Women Redefining Wealth.
And is it virtual or in person?
It's virtual.
Okay, we're gonna have the links as soon as we're done. The links are gonna go in. And we're
And
gonna
it's
make sure.
free. I forgot to say that too.
Ooh, did you hear
And it's
that?
free.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh. All right. Well, Rosanna, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your personal lived experience, sharing pieces of your life. And thank you for putting this wonderful event together. I'm gonna sign up. And thank you for being the best part of United Latinas, and spending your afternoon with us. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Heidi. You're wonderful.